Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Kopi Janavalabha. Thank you. Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai. All glories to the some devotees, all glories to some devotees, all glories to some devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. So tonight we'll read from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we will be reading from text, chapter 4, Transcendental Knowledge, text 14. What was that? Mam karmani limpanti. Alright, I think we'll just, sorry, we'll rewind. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namam karmani limpanti. Sorry, 4:14. Who's back there, anyways? Oh, okay. Name karma pales priha. Timam yo bijanati. Kamabirna sabadite. Na never ma me karmani, all kinds of work, limpanti, do effect, na nor me my karma pale, in fruit of action, spriha, aspiration, iti thus, ma me, yaha, one who, abhijanati, does know, karma bihi, by the reaction of such work, na never, saha, he, badite, becomes entangled. Okay, translation. Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead speaking. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruit of reactions of work. Purport. As there are constitutional laws in the material world stating that the king can do no wrong, or that the king is not subject to the state laws, similarly, the Lord, although He is the creator of this material world, is not affected by the activities of the material world. He creates and remains aloof from the creation, whereas the living entities are entangled in the fruitive results of material activities because of their propensity for lording it over material resources. The proprietor of an establishment is not responsible for the right and wrong activities of the workers, but the workers are themselves responsible. The living entities are engaged in their respective activities of sense gratification, and these activities are not ordained by the Lord. For advancement of sense gratification, the living entities are engaged in the work of this world, and they aspire to heavenly happiness after death. The Lord, being full in himself, has no attraction for so-called heavenly happiness. The heavenly demigods are only his engaged servants. The proprietor never desires the low-grade happiness such as the workers may desire. He is aloof from the material actions and reactions. For example, the rains are not responsible for different types of vegetation that appear on the earth. Although without such rains there is no possibility of vegetative growth. Vedic Smriti confirms this fact as follows. Nimitti matram evasau srijyanam sargakarmani pradana karani bhuta tovai srijya shaktayaha. In the material creations, the Lord is only the supreme cause. The immediate cause is material nature, by which the cosmic manifestation is made visible. The created beings are of many varieties, such as the demigods, human beings, and lower animals, and all of them are subject to the reactions of their past good or bad activities. The Lord only gives them the proper facilities for such activities and the regulations of the modes of nature, but he is never responsible for their past and present activities. In the Vedanta Sutra 2134 it is confirmed, Vashamya Naigrinesna Sa Pikshatvat. The Lord is never partial to any living entity. The living entity is responsible for his own acts. The Lord only gives him facilities through the agency of material nature, the external energy. Anyone who is fully conversant with all the intricacies of this law of karma or fruit of activities does not become affected by the results of his activities. In other words, the person who understands this transcendental nature of the Lord is an experienced man in Krishna consciousness, and thus he is never subjected to the laws of karma. One who does not know the transcendental nature of the Lord, and who thinks that the activities of the Lord are aimed at fruitive results, as are the activities of the ordinary living entities, certainly becomes entangled himself in fruitive reactions. But one who knows the supreme truth is a liberated soul, fixed in Krishna consciousness. Okay. Gananjana Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshudhanvadithamyana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karitvachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yet Kripa Tamaham Vande Shigurundiritaranam Vancha Kapdribishcha Kripa Sindhu Bievicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gauda Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Alright, read the translation again. There's no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. So yeah, the material world is set in motion, you could say, indirectly in some way, by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And there's certain laws that are also set in motion by him, by which the material world operates. And the laws are very, very strict. They're very strict in the sense that no one could really avoid them. Just like birth in this world, abortion, but it's not funny. But think about avoiding birth. Well, a lot of people have abortion. People avoid the birth of their child, I guess. But birth, I mean, if the soul is in this world, yeah, take birth. Old age, no one could avoid that. And disease, death, and death. Of course, old age, if somebody dies, if one's material body dies prematurely, then yeah, they're avoiding old age. And one may avoid disease up to the moment of death. I guess that happens sometimes, like people, when they get in a car accident or something, they avoided disease, or some people just live so long that they're not really sick, they just so old, the body just kind of shuts down. They go to sleep one night, they wake up, and they don't wake up. They wake up dead, yeah. Go to sleep and they wake up dead. So they don't, so yeah, you could say there's ways to kind of, I want to say cheat the system, but you're not really, it's not really working so well in that, okay, let's say somebody cheats the system in these ways, cheats the system, but yeah, if they're not liberated, if they're not fully Krishna conscious, then they just have to redo it all over again, birth, death, old age, disease, or if they skip the 3 or whatever, then skip 2 of them or something, then death is there, death, repeated death. So it's very stringent laws, strict laws, cruel actually. Say they're actually cruel in the sense that they cause a lot of suffering. And they cause a lot of suffering for the individual, and they cause a lot of suffering for people who have to witness somebody's, for example, or hear about somebody dying, somebody getting diseased, or old age. And yeah, you could say just thinking about it objectively and in a real way, it's just suffering. And yeah, the thing is, no one could get free from that. I just heard somebody was saying that about this whole whatever thing going on right now, right? The virus. Someone was saying, "Oh yeah, we're waiting for Bill Gates to find a cure for death, and we'll stop the lockdown." Which some guy, which Bill Gates, I mean, he may be very rich. Not that he may be very rich, he is very rich. And as I don't know why Bhakta Bill's being brought up so much today, but Vijay Prabhu brought him up this morning as well. Sorry, don't mean to be polluting or whatever, or putting Bill in everybody's mind, but means polluting everybody's mind with thoughts of Bill Gates. I guess it is polluting, but yeah, Bill Gates, it's not that he may be rich, he is very rich. And as Vijay Prabhu said, he's filthy rich, which I thought was kind of funny, filthy, but he himself can't escape old age, disease, or death. Definitely I can't escape death. And he can't find a cure for it. So of course someone says, oh, when he finds a cure for it, well, everyone could leave their homes. The cure is not going to happen. Not going to be found by him. A cure for death. So yeah, these are very strict laws, and you could say in many ways it's depressing actually. Like I was bringing up to a devotee earlier this morning. I said, "Are you still having bad dreams?" And the devotee said, "Yes." And I said, "Welcome to the material world." Because if if we're honest, I think everybody would admit that at least some of their daydreams, as Prabhupada would call them, daydreams, some of the daydreams are bad dreams, nightmarish. And some of the night dreams are also nightmarish. And sometimes, not really, unfortunately, sometimes people's whole life is like that. Their daydream is just a nightmare, bad dream, and their night dream. They have such disturbed lives. A lot of people, actually. So I guess you could say fortunate if we could have a little sanity or a little peace or a little Krishna consciousness in our daydream. Consider ourselves lucky. Some people, they just don't have that at all. So yeah, this daydream and night dreaming, it's going on, and the Vedic scriptures call it a dream because it's temporary. It's temporary. The dream ends. So the idea is that we don't want to become, you could say, bewildered by the dream, bewildered by the daydream, night dream, which means to become bewildered in the sense where we forget the whole, you'd say, goal of life, which is Krishna consciousness, or specifically to develop pure love for Krishna. And therefore, as it's being stated here, Krishna creates and remains aloof from the creation, whereas the living entities are entangled in the fruit of results. They're entangled in this world because of their propensity for lording it over material resources. So how do we get free from this? How do we get free from the propensity to lord it over material resources? It's not very easy to do that, because the whole world is, that's what this world's about. This world is about lording over material resources. That's what everybody's doing, whether they admit that or not. So how do we get free from that? We get free from it. There's a nice verse in the 7th canto, Prahlad Maharaj. He says, when Krishna is pleased by our devotional service, we become pundits. We become learned persons. And once we become learned persons, we do not see a difference between friends and enemies. In other words, we will see that everyone is related to Krishna. We'll see everyone is a servant of Krishna ultimately. When Krishna becomes pleased with our devotional service, we will become pundits, learned persons. Now, of course, to some degree, we hope that Krishna is pleased with our devotional service, and to some degree, we have become pundits or learned persons. In some degree, Krishna has benedicted us with that vision. But to the degree we surrender to Krishna and to the spiritual master and to the process of devotional service, to that degree we become learned persons, we're able to see like that, like Prahlad Maharaj was describing, which is very, very important. It's a very important goal to reach for us and for everyone. So what does that mean when Krishna becomes pleased by devotional service? So what is Krishna pleased by? Krishna is pleased by sacrifice, by us sacrificing. What does that mean? That means that we have to give ourselves to the process of devotional service. So much of Krishna consciousness just means giving ourselves, not holding back. And as the saying goes, Krishna doesn't see, of course he sees, but the saying is, Krishna doesn't see what we give, but he sees what we hold back. Another thing, people say, oh well, one man has $10 billion and he gives $350,000. Well, seems like a pretty good donation, right? $350,000. We never get that type of donation here at the Harekrishna Temple in SanDiego, as far as I know. We get a $10,000, $20,000 maybe, $70,000 recently, I think. It was 70,000. Yeah, 70,000. Big. We never get a $350,000. It's really big. So let's say we got that one day, $350,000. Wow, it's amazing. And we find out the guy is sitting on, $10 billion. It's like, okay, $350,000, that's something, but you have $10 billion in relation. It's not that much. Whereas you have somebody who all they have is, let's say, $30,000, and they give $20,000. It's like, it's more of a sacrifice for the second person. But yeah, so much of Krishna consciousness just means giving ourselves, and we see that that's what all the great devotees do. They give themselves to Krishna, just like the gopis. When they heard the flute of Krishna, they weren't, there wasn't any kind of like second guessing, like, I don't know, I'm kind of feeling tired. I was churning a lot of butter today. I was just about to go to sleep, or I was just in the middle of cooking my dinner. I'm busy listening to some other type of music, right? My child's crying, whatever. There's so many things. It's all on a transcendental platform. Very difficult to understand this whole relationship Krishna has with the gopis. But yeah, they're pure devotees. It's all on a pure love of Godhead platform, transcendental platform. But they weren't second guess. Maybe I'll go, and it's like, no, I'm immediately. There wasn't even it was just like a, right? What is it? Iron to mag. What is it? Is it? Iron to magnet. Magnet. Weird word. Magnet. Iron to magnet. So just attraction is natural. There's hard to stop that attraction. Just like a very crude example. A heroin addict is naturally attracted to that substance. It means a real addict, like somebody who's, I'm not just talking about a guy who, did it a few times. I'm talking about like a real addict. He's really attracted to it. And he'll do anything to get it. He'll beg, he'll borrow, he'll steal, he'll do anything to get that fix. So there's a natural attraction there. So similarly, it's a very crude example, but with the gopis, a natural attraction. They're addicted to Krishna, to having a relationship with Krishna. Attracted to Krishna. So they just go, they run out and meet Krishna. And they don't really care. They don't care at all what society thinks, what this person would think. They don't care. They're ready to sacrifice everything for Krishna. And there's so many personalities like that within our scriptures. So the idea is that, how does that relate to us? It relates to us in the sense that we also have to make our sacrifices on a daily basis. We also have to make our sacrifices on a daily basis, which means that they may not look like big sacrifices for us or for people in general, but they actually are if one is able to make the sacrifices. Just giving all of oneself to the chanting of Hare Krishna in japa, that is a sacrifice. We have to give ourselves. It's not just like automatic, we turn on the button. Like my mother had this, she got some store, they sell all types of junk, but she got this little bird as a plastic bird, parrot. And you speak and the parrot remembers what you say, and then you press the button and it speaks. So she taught the bird, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and then you press the button to the bird. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I don't know, some time ago. She brought it around. Yeah, years ago. She's just joking around. But, yeah, or like Pavamana, or as many devotees call him. I don't know why, but they call him Pav. Maybe we could ask Pavamana Prabhu why devotees call him Pav, but we call him Pav. So as Pavamana Prabhu, he has a bird, many animals, and the bird's named Shukadev. So Shukadev means parrot. So this parrot can chant Hare Krishna and can chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Right? So, but because it's a bird, and I suspect it hasn't developed very high levels of Krishna consciousness, because you could teach a bird to say anything, a parrot, particularly a parrot. So we could suspect that when a cat comes, which for a bird is the form of death, right? So the cat comes and latches onto the bird's not going to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. He's going to chant, right? What is it? Caw, caw, right? It is squawk. Caw, 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 squawk. So, so the idea is that we don't want to do that. When we're in danger, we want to call it to Krishna. We want to call it to Krishna and not squawk. We want to call it to Krishna. Which that a human could develop. A human could develop that type of consciousness. Apparently there was some sannyasi within ISKCON, and he was in like a car accident or something, and devotees were with him. Or they're about to be in a car accident. And this devotee, I mean, of course it's a pious thing to say. He said something pious, but it wasn't exactly, Gaudiya Vaishnavism, Krishna consciousness, but he said, about to get in a car accident, he said, Jesus Christ, go back to, which is pious, but that's where his mind was, I guess. He had some, lingering attachment for Jesus Christ, apparently. So we see that we could train a parrot, we could train a plastic parrot, push the button, we could train a parrot. There could be a nice robot, right, that offers arti. You just press the button and, it waves the incense, right? Maybe they'll have a robot that could cook someday, right? Cook the offerings. Cook the offerings, things like that. But the idea is that there has to be that, you could say, devotional element there, the element of bhakti, in which a person, they really give themselves to the process. So give themselves to the chanting, sacrifice their intention for the chanting, for the cooking, for the puja, with some faith and affection for Krishna. And by doing that, then that on a daily basis, then one is actually sacrificing themselves. Actually, it's not that these people, like these Gaudiya Vaishnava saints or saints in other traditions, It's like, they're glorified. Yeah, they sacrificed their whole life, right, for the spreading of God consciousness, and they really gave themselves to God. But, okay, that's true. But what did they do every day? Every day, that's what they did every day. And therefore, the accumulation of that turned into their whole life. Day by day, month, year, decade after decade. And then someone could say, yeah, they gave themselves. They gave themselves. But of course, those persons who are recorded in history, every day they really gave themselves. That's the key, that every day they really gave themselves. And of course, even if somebody gives themselves to some degree every day, it'll still be glorified and remembered. But the people who really give themselves every day, really give themselves, then those persons are recorded. So it's not that we want to be recorded, but the idea is that this is who we're supposed to become. Means we're supposed to be like these personalities who give themselves completely to the process of devotional service. And in this way, our long-standing desire to lord it over material resources diminishes gradually, and eventually it's just gone. The desire for lording over material resources is gone. And some people, they say, some people, they'll say, okay, well, why, Krishna, it says the living entities are engaged in their respective activities of sense gratification. These activities are not ordained by the Lord. So, people are suffering all over the world because they're not God conscious, and they're doing humble service for that which is not worthy, namely their material bodies, the material bodies of others. They become servants. Anyways, we had to drive somewhere today, and somebody was picking up after their dog, which you have to do. Thankfully, people do that. Not all of them do. Not everybody does, but they should. But thankfully a lot of people do, because I see it, and if they wouldn't, because there's a lot of dogs around. A lot of people don't? Oh, yeah, if they didn't, that'd be terrible, yeah. So, anyways, I was driving with Devotee and Jamal, and we just happened to drive by when somebody was picking up what they should pick up, and I told Jamal that, they're doing humble service, which is true. It is humble service for their animal. Yeah. So yeah, people are doing humble service for their dogs, for their pets, for this, for that, for their boss, for this material world. There's a bunch of humble service going on, pretty much. And but the idea is that they're just doing it for their sense gratification, and therefore it's causing them suffering, because they're really trying to forget about God. They're really trying to push Him out of the picture, but it's hard to. They're really trying to, and just focus on their own self and sense gratification, and in this way they're suffering. So, and then they say, why is God letting me suffer? Well, it's like, all right, well, you're not following the instructions of God. He's saying you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. And because you're doing what you're doing, you're suffering. And then you're blaming Him. But He's telling you not to do that, to do something else. by which doing that something else you'll not suffer. So why don't you do that? But, very difficult. They don't accept that. They'll say that, okay, God doesn't exist, or I'm not sure if he exists, or so many things. But interesting enough, they're very enthusiastic to engage in sense gratification and to try all different types of sense gratification. But they're not enthusiastic to even try spiritual life, even give it the benefit of the doubt. It's all automatically, it's because it's very foreign to them, and because they're envious and materialistic and so like that. They're blocked, unfortunately. So therefore, material nature's there, and say, okay, you want to engage your senses in sense gratification. You want to forget Krishna. Okay, well, I'm going to punish you over and over and over and over again until you wake up, at least to some degree, and become a little humble, by which you could engage in a little basic inquiry into the absolute truth, and not be such a wild animal. As one devotee likes to say, wild animal. Actually, Prabhupada would speak in these ways, and people would become very upset with him, actually. Although they would love him, but it was a very interesting dynamic, because they would love him so much, but then there'd be an element that they just, I love him so much, but I can't tolerate what he says sometimes. Just like Prabhupada would write, he wrote a letter to my spiritual master one time, and he said, this whole world, this population of this world, largely, has become completely full of, he said animals and demons. It's like really strong, very strong. And he said the whole mission of the Krishna consciousness movement is to try to help these people come to their senses, because they're not that by nature. They're not animals or demon or anything like that by nature. They're actually Krishna servants, for God's sake. They're pure spirit souls, lovers of Krishna. So the whole purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement is to bring them to their senses, even though they're insane, to bring them to their senses and to gear them to direct them back to Krishna. But anyways, one time during a big pandal in India, devotees Prabhupada was speaking very heavily about different gurus, and everybody knew who he was talking about. Everybody knew, and talking about this guru, that guru. He wasn't saying the name, but everybody knew. And a lot of the persons in the audience were followers of those particular gurus. So devotees went out into the audience, and apparently they didn't completely collect the funds they needed to collect to pay for the pandal. So they went around in the audience trying to, scrap up any last donations so they could actually pay for what they've already put up. So people would come up to the devotees and say, your guru is really nice and we really love him, but can he just not speak so strongly about like he is? And then they would even come up to Prabhupada and say, oh, Swami, you're really nice, but can you just not speak so strongly? And Prabhupada would say, well, what to do? He said, I'm Krishna's policeman. He said, whenever I see a thief, I have to blow the whistle. And he said, what do you want me to do? He said, there's a thief, I have to blow the whistle, or else he'll just come and take all your money. So you want to give him all your money? So I'm Krishna's policeman, I blow the whistle. So, people didn't like it, but he did it. So it may seem that Srila Prabhupada uses harsh language, and it may be difficult for people to digest, and so on. But the idea is not to cast all these people into a eternal vat of obnoxious, terrible suffering or something. But the point is to, okay, this is their situation, this is the diagnosis, and hey, we have the medicine, so you come to us, and we'll help you get free from this particular situation you're in. We'll help you get free. So people they say, oh, why am I suffering? We say, well, you're not God conscious. And then, again, material nature has to really work her magic on these persons to get them a little humble so they could inquire. And then when they do inquire, then that's the beginning. That's the beginning of their return to happiness and sanity and Krishna consciousness. They have to inquire. Not just inquire into, how to gratify their senses this way, that way, over and over and over again. Charvananam, chewing the chewed. You've chewed the chewed so many times, and still you're not happy, so why do you keep on doing it? And people know that they're not happy, but they keep on doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's just really foolish, actually. And you see, that's the result of the mode of ignorance. People know they're not happy, but they keep on doing the same thing over and over and over again. Like this. It's just terrible, actually. Anyways, I'll tell you a sad story. Just for I don't say fun, but it is a really sad story. But it demonstrates the mode of ignorance very nicely. And people's pathetic state, actually. So there's this guy, and he was very he was very depressed, very unhappy with his life, and factually he just wanted to die. He was so unhappy with himself and the world. So he and then there's this woman. She was also similar to him, and her husband, her boyfriend, was quite abusive, so she left him. He's really abusive, really sick, actually. So she left him, and then she met this guy. So they connected, and they were spending time together and living together in a van and traveling around America. And apparently, Walmart parking lots are like, devotees would do that in Sankirtan too. They stay in Walmart parking lots as they're supposed to be like. Apparently, Walmart lets you do it. So they were there, and this guy was always complaining to his girlfriend, I really want to die. I'm just unhappy. But it's like, okay, you're unhappy, but well, why don't you do something about it? Have you investigated all of the options? And from the story, at least, it seems that he didn't. Just like kind of his own little box. And a lot of people like that. It's like, oh, you're suffering. Okay, well, why don't you investigate? And and they can't do it because they're too much in the mode of ignorance. Mode of ignorance means like animalistic, animal life. They can't really understand because, and I'm not saying that to it's not that I'm trying to really get on these people's cases for being in the mode of ignorance, but I'm really criticizing the world in the sense that they're promoting the culture of the mode of ignorance. They're not educating people in the school systems and teachers, parents. They're not educating people. There's no spiritual education. That's Prabhupada criticized. Where is the department where you study the soul? There is no department. There's a bunch of mundane departments, right? Maybe some philosophy, theoretical stuff like that, but they're not really pushing the spiritual messages like they should. Just like this COVID-19, everybody and their mother and father and everybody's talking about it. They all know about it. Everybody on this planet right now knows about it, practically speaking. And maybe there's somebody out in the, I don't know, jungle or something does know about it. Maybe even they know about it. Everybody knows about it. So why can't these people spread the spiritual message like that, where everybody knows about it, but they don't do it? Because they don't think it's important. I mean, this news spread so fast about this disease, so fast. And to the degree that everybody knows about it. So why can't they do that with the spiritual message of Krishna consciousness, or just in general spiritual messages, maybe even a generic spiritual message? They won't do it. So it's a real criticism to them, and why is there so much suffering in this world? Why is there so many problems? Well, because you guys are a bunch of atheistic fools, and you're not trying to avoid God over and over and over again. And you're wondering and crying, right? Prabhupada says in the Sri Upanishad, the politicians are crying for world peace, and then we're on the verge of destruction of the world, something like that. So this guy, poor product of modern civilization, I want to die. So, and then eventually his girlfriend said, "Oh, you want to die? So what do you want me to do about it?" And he says, "I want to die. I want to die in your hands, because I want you to kill me." And then she says, "Okay, but do you really want me to kill you?" He says, "Yeah, I want you to kill me. Put me out of my suffering. Just kill me. Take my life." So that's what she started to do. That she put it, grabbed her hands and on his neck and started doing that. And somehow there's a police patrolling Walmart parking lot at that time, and came up, "Hey, what's going on?" Knocked on the door, kind of sensed something weird was going on, and she stopped because she started getting freaked out, like, "Oh, this is actually working. The guy's actually dying." So by the time she realized that it was working, the guy was actually dying. Yeah, he died. They left his body. Police came, and she went to jail. And strange part of the story is that the mother of this son would visit this girlfriend who killed her son in prison. She was the only visitor. But the whole story, it's sad in the sense that these people are just lost. They're lost souls, product of modern mode of ignorance civilization. And that's sad. So the idea is that ideally the whole world would be transformed in the sense that people become receptacles. People become receptacles of transcendental knowledge. They become receptacles of mercy, by which people become elevated. All leaders become qualified in that way. Now, if that's not going to happen, which it may take some time for that to happen, then one should try to spread the message of Krishna consciousness to help such people like this. And we shouldn't think that those people are like, that was just some bizarre, weird, rare story. That type of weird stuff happens all day long, all over the world. It is happening all over. So the world is in a great need for people for help. So therefore, Prabhupada translated Bhagavad Gita, so much transcendental knowledge. And if people would just learn how to turn back to Krishna, they wouldn't suffer anymore. So that's what we want to teach people. How to turn to Krishna so they don't have to suffer anymore. Okay, I just noticed a little late. Sorry. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
No comments, but Tapa says Hare Krishna, and someone named Satish says, Hare Krishna, wishing you all are staying safe out there.
Yes, we're staying safe. Thank you, Satish. We're trying to stay safe. Hare Krishna Tapas.